I'm Bernard Craig Spragner. Welcome to Community Report. My guest today is Douglas Marble. He is a veterans rep. Douglas, welcome to Community Report.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Bernard. I really do.
You and I know one another for a number of years, and we always talked about benefits for veterans.
Correct.
Tell me, what is some of the key things that veterans need to know?
Well, I say it's 5 parts to the Veterans Administration benefits. One being life insurance, which is important at $10,000.
Okay.
The second would be medical care through the VA hospital, educational benefits to go back to school, VA home loan to purchase a home, no money down, and a monthly income tax-free for the rest of your lives.
Now, how does veterans get this information? Because I think one of the things we talked about was creating some type of pipeline to get the information out. How do veterans find out about you?
Well, again, I've got my cell phone, and I've got an office in the city of Detroit. Obviously, we've known each other a few years.
Right.
We used to belong to the same chapter, and once I relocated to my own office, I started branching out. And again, I was fortunate enough where 16 years ago, someone told me about VA benefits, but someone told me the day I was discharged. What a blessing that was, because I realized that I've had nothing to lose and everything to gain. So I applied, and 9 months later, I was awarded 40% disability, which equates to $569 tax-free for the rest of my life. Free medical care. I signed up for the life insurance. I purchased a home, and I'm receiving my benefits.
When it comes to the black community, are black veterans taking advantage of this? If so, or if not, why?
Well, unfortunately, the Veterans Administration, the benefits were established at the end of the Civil War, which means they've always been there. But there's no funding for advertisement. So how would you or I find out if no one tells you? Well, just to give you an analogy, the eldest veteran that I've assisted to get his benefits is currently 99 years old. No one told him in 1947 that he can apply for VA benefits. So at age 97, I'm at his house explaining to him what he could have taken advantage of at age 24. So at 98 years old, now he's receiving 60% disability for hearing loss. But he had suffered over 74 years with hearing loss.
Okay, once a veteran contact you, what is the process that you would take them through to process them for their benefits?
Okay, great question. Well, the first thing I need to know is a little bit about that particular person, because every veteran has his or her own service or story, such as when did you serve? Were you ever overseas? Were you ever injured? Were you ever hospitalized? And were you ever given any medication? So I asked those 5 basic questions because some people went overseas and some people did not. Some people were injured and others were just exposed to hazards such as asbestos, or again, Agent Orange, or again, radiation. So I asked those questions, and that gives me the ability to be able to ask further questions, because whether you know a veteran or not, 9 times out of 10, most of them don't know about veterans benefits.
When it comes to veteran benefits, it not only benefits the veteran, but also family members, correct?
Their wives, if the veteran has not passed away, and their children, school age up to age 26. So who would not take advantage of something that they're entitled to had they only known? Most people don't know.
Is it because they just don't get information, or do they feel that it's complicated, or maybe someone say, you know what, I tried it and I got denied?
Okay, well, those are 3 good statements. It is kind of difficult. It is time consuming, but it's worth the effort. If you don't apply, then you will be that 99-year-old man saying, I wish someone would have told me decades ago.
Now, a lot of vets, you mentioned that's 90-something years old. They don't drive.
Yeah.
So how do you reach out to them?
Well, for those that served during World War II, I extend out my services to go to their homes. Obviously, I can't go out to California or something like that, but we can communicate through mail. But for the veterans that are located here in Detroit, I'll go directly to the homes. Because again, only they know or remember what they did in service. So I would ask specific questions by looking at their documents on the table. It'll tell me where they were, what they did, and whether they were injured or not. So I will pull out of my briefcase what documents they would need to apply for VA benefits.
Okay, when it comes to the different types of forms and when you take the veterans through it, is it something that's kind of difficult to process or to understand?
Well, a lot of the questions are just basic information such as your name, your social security number, your date of birth, home of record, all things that veterans predominantly know. But what they aren't are sure of are what type of conditions does the VA compensate for. So again, everybody, meaning everybody, had to qualify on the rifle range. Everybody had to throw grenades. Only some people jumped out of planes if you were a paratrooper. Only some people were exposed to loud traumatic noises, whether they worked at an airfield or on an aircraft carrier. So it's those questions that I would ask to kind of give me the idea of what particular benefits this veteran could have qualified for.
No, I'm glad that you said that because I'm a Navy guy, and I was on an aircraft carrier.
Okay.
I was on a nuclear carrier.
Okay.
Have you heard anything about anybody being affected by maybe being exposed to anything? And so if I was, what would be my first step?
Okay, well, that's either to get in contact with myself or another service organization, which again, I used to be a part of one of those. But doing that 18-month training, the VA put in me information, what questions to ask, what forms to fill out, and how to get the information from the veteran and to know what benefits might be available to him, such as those that serve on naval ships might have been exposed to asbestos. It was lined throughout the ships. Or whether you were on a flight deck or in an engine room or a cook in the Navy, you were exposed to loud traumatic noises all of the time, which might create hearing loss, which you might need a hearing aid, or tinnitus, which is ringing and buzzing in the ears. And a lot of people says, well, I didn't know what that was. Well, tinnitus is ringing and buzzing in the ears. That's a 10% disability, which equates to $133 tax-free for the rest of their lives.
You know, often, Douglas, when I watch the news, I see a lot of homeless vets. What actions are being taken now to address that?
Well, again, the poor will always be amongst us, but so will veterans as well. And again, I do understand that the information that was shared with me was never shared with a lot of people. So you take your regular Vietnam veteran or Korean War veteran, when they came home, the economy was a little different. They established their jobs that they worked at before they were drafted, and life goes on, which means they never applied for the benefits that they've always been entitled to, depending upon whether they serve honorably or not. So again, basically it's myself going out to different churches, halls, basements, and things of that nature, just sharing this information because again, 16 years ago, someone shared this information with me and it virtually changed my life. What a blessing that was.
When you are discharged from the military, you're given a form called a DD-214.
Correct.
That identifies your representation in the service. Now, say I just got out the service, but for some reason, after a number of years or things of that nature, I can't find my DD-214.
Okay.
What happens?
Now, some veterans, when they came back from the war or the military, they went and registered that discharge down at the city county building. I see quite a few of them that's got that stamp on it. If not, you can obtain a copy of it through the National Personnel Records Department in St. Louis. Now again, some do hear that yes, there was a fire in 1973. Due to the lack of technology, some people receive letters saying your records have been destroyed.
Okay.
Well, in 2013, the new technology exists where you can get those documents recreated, but you actually have to request it. So the records were not destroyed, they just got moved to another location. So those individuals, if they lost the discharge, they can always get it recreated and then sent to this veteran or the surviving spouse.
I appreciate that. What we're going to do is we're going to close on this one right here, but stay tuned for the second segment where we get a little bit more detail about veteran benefits with Douglas Marble.